Many parks don't have the strongest roller coaster collection. Others are packed with major coasters front to back. Some parks focus on families, and the rest on thrills. Nickelodeon Universe is one of those parks that manages to satisfy everyone. Everyone in the family will walk away enjoying something from the park. Several people go to the park and take in the scenery, while everyone else goes to enjoy the roller coasters. I've been riding roller coasters for many years. Across the Midwest, I visited many states. I've been fortunate to visit Nickelodeon Universe in 2021. And after riding all the major coasters, I'm going to rank them. Let's get right to it. Starting off at number 4 is Pepsi Orange Street. This was the last ride I rode at the park. I only really went to the park to ride the roller coasters. I only had 2 hours to do so, but I was still satisfied with only one ride on this. It's a great family coaster for people trying to get into the hobby. It's not intense or airtime packed, and the theming is still very solid, at least in comparison to the other parks I've been to. It was nice to ride this coaster after a long day of filming and riding coasters. If you expect a thrill ride, you will walk off disappointed. You have to go in expecting a tame ride, and this roller coaster will take you around the whole park. For an indoor ride, this has great views. It gives an amazing tour of everything while soaring above the park. And not to mention, the ride is super photogenic and fun to watch even from the midways. It may get long lines, but its long duration should make up for the wait. Just because it's a family coaster doesn't mean it should be skipped out. At the number 3 spot is Fairly Odd Coaster. This is a roller coaster I didn't know what to expect going in. I had never ridden a Gerstlauer spinning coaster before, so I went in expecting an Airtime machine. But after riding it, my expectations were far off. It's a ride that focuses more on intensity, and sitting on one side of the car only made the turns more intense. Even though I expected airtime, I still walked off satisfied. I've ridden some roller coasters that give out of control feelings. This ride was one of those. Usually, I tend to not like it, but in this case, I loved it. Not even the slight roughness dropped this ride in my ranking. I had a lot of fun riding it, and it shocked me the most out of any of the rides in the park. Up next at number 2 is Avatar Airbender. It was my first ever spinning roller coaster. Most people say it rarely operates. The day before I went, I saw it running. But the next day I went to the park and I was handed a sheet with all the rides open. Avatar wasn't on the list, and I was sad. But later in the day, I heard it running and bolted to the ride. From the one ride, I noticed that the restraints were very comfortable and didn't restrict the airtime. They were like the restraints on Cheetah Hunt, which I loved. I also found the launches to be decently intense. It obviously doesn't compare to launches like Max Force, but the launches are still enjoyable. And you do get weightlessness on each spike. It was cool to get airtime sideways, and the spinning made it even more intense. But views of the park from the top were even better. I went in expecting the ride to be like the Intamin Impulse model, I've ridden Vertical Velocity at Great America, and they are very similar. I do prefer intimate impulses. I won't say the ride was very intense or forceful, but Avatar was still fun and it made me smile the whole ride. It's a great ride for the park's collection. At the number 1 spot is SpongeBob SquarePants Rock Bottom Plunge. This was my first Gerstlauer roller coaster. With only a height of 74 feet and a max speed of 44 miles per hour, the ride definitely doesn't sound impressive. But when I rode the ride for the first time, my expectations were exceeded. It was the first ride I rode at the park, and the only ride I re-rode. And after a year without riding a roller coaster, this ride had me excited. A lot of people found the ride to be rough. The first ride I rode in the back row middle seats, and it was butter smooth. On the second ride, I rode it in the front on the end seat, and it was a bit more rough, but easily tolerable. And this was my first roller coaster with a vertical lift and a beyond vertical drop. The vertical lift was very enjoyable, and it stalls you at the top, adding to the anticipation. For my first roller coaster in so long, this was an adrenaline rush, but the drop was even better. In the back, you get a strong pop of airtime, easily the best part of the ride. And the inversions are also great. They give off hang time. To add on top of that, this ride has strong laterals in the finale. Yeah, it's not elite compared to the other roller coasters at Six Flags Great America, but it's a lot of fun and still forceful. Also, this ride is super photogenic. I could film it for hours. It's a great addition to the park, and it's my favorite ride in the park. I walked away satisfied with all the roller coasters in the lineup. I wasn't disappointed or let down. One thing I regret is not riding their collection of flat rides. I did get a chance to ride one of their rides, Brain Surge, which I found to be really fun. In the future, I plan on returning to this park to re-ride the roller coaster and ride some of the flat rides that I missed out on. But the lineup is worth visiting if you are in the area. I definitely recommend going to the park. Even if it appeals to families, some attractions provide some strong forces that don't disappoint. Also, don't forget to subscribe, because I have a lot planned for the 2021 season. You won't want to miss out. And check out some of my roller coaster reviews. Thank you for watching.